Welcome back to Hot Air with me, Joshua Robert. This episode is part of our new year, same me but with clarity series. But instead of big resolutions or overnight transformations, we are focusing on something much more foundational, healing the nervous system. And today I am joined by world renowned trauma therapist, Dr. Reggie Melrose, author of The 60-Second Fix. Her work challenges the idea that healing has to be long, overwhelming, or inaccessible, and instead offers practical, science backed tools that can help regulate stress, anxiety, and emotional overwhelm. And as the title of her book suggests, often in under 1 minute. If you're not following me on Instagram and TikTok, make sure that you are at _hotairpod. Submit your listener stories, topic suggestions, and shop my merch on my website, hotairwithjoshuarobert.com. So, if you've ever felt stuck, burned out, or like you know better, but still can't shift how you feel, this conversation today is for you. We're talking about trauma in the body, self regulation, and what real sustainable healing can actually look like as we step into the new year. And a whole lot of laughing because Dr. Reggie Melrose is hilarious. She is a breath of fresh air, so fun to chat with, hang out with, and be around. So, without a doubt, you're going to learn some things and you're certainly going to have a little giggle in this episode. So let's hit it. Okay.
You're getting in an elevator with a stranger.
Oh my
love
God.
it.
I was literally just left the gym and I was in the elevator. And I mean, every time it's with strangers and it was this guy. And I'm always like, where do I look? Like, what do I do? It's so uncomfortable. And then he left the floor before me. And I was like, the elevators are the most awkward place to be because it's just, what do you do? Like, you're kind of looking at each other. You're kind of not. It's awkward. So uncomfy. Well, what a great way to start. Awkward elevators.
Today, awkward.
Yes, that's the theme for today. No, the theme is new year, new me, but maybe from a little bit of a more mental health and wellness point of view. So
I love
we
it.
are here with Dr. Reggie. Welcome to Hot
So
Air.
glad.
Thank you for joining me. So I'm a very big new year, new me. I love learning new things. I use every full moon as a way to kind of reset any opportunity I get the first of the month, whatever it is, where I'm like, let's revisit some things. So today and this whole series of January episodes is really about that, but more of probably more of a deep dive into mental health and healing, which is why I started this podcast. And almost a year ago, when I started going back to therapy, is when I started learning more about mental health, why we do the things that we do, a little bit about my trauma. I always thought I don't have any trauma. Everything's fine. Trauma has to be huge, things like that. So I think I can probably learn a lot from you. And my goal is just to offer the listeners today something that is grounded, easy to use, tools that they can do at home without completely giving away all of your expertise because we gotta, save something. But I think yeah, we can definitely help anyone who kind of wants that fresh little mental health start because we all have something to work through. There's a lot of people that have taken a really long time to even get into that journey, to start that step. So maybe, a few people today will learn something. But before we get into that, let's learn about you and talk about you and how you got into your field, where you are, what led you to trauma work, stress regulation, without giving away, again, your whole entire story because you are working on a memoir. So if people really want to know, we'll have to wait for that. But the Cliff Notes version of Dr. Reggie.
Yeah, I would say, well, first of all, because I only got onto the top of the waiting list at theater school. I mean, I was supposed to do theater. What am I doing?
Some things
What
meant to be.
am I here? Yeah. So that hits me every now and then. I'm doing something completely different than what I thought I was going to be doing. I just couldn't afford to not get started on the next thing after high school. It was, I
Mm-hmm.
I find. I've lived my life, row, row, row your boat gently down the stream.
Okay. Not upstream, down the stream.
You got it.
Got it.
That's the next line happens to be merrily, merrily, merrily. Life is like
Right.
saying. I'm just saying. Profound. Okay.
Seriously.
So I just went downstream. I actually got an acceptance. I couldn't believe it. It was a high school English assignment that I fill out an application to a university. I cheated off my neighbor. She was going into something called, I couldn't even pronounce it. It was PSYCH. I was like, what is that? She said, don't you know what psychology is? And I said, no. And she said, haven't you ever heard of Freud? And I said, no. Anyway, I cheated off her application. The teacher, unbeknownst to me, actually turned it in. He sent our applications in, and I got an acceptance to study psychology at McGill, which was a great honor that I didn't even realize at the time, but have come to learn was such an honor, not something you say no to. So that's really how it happened, is that as long as I was a student, I was getting loans from the government to pay my rent, and I wasn't homeless.
Right.
Exaggeration, it's not. My life is a complete accident. I shouldn't even be here. And to study to study trauma was just inevitable. I'm a foster kid. I'm a foster kid. So none of this should have happened in my life. I
Oh, wow.
really, yeah, I should be dead in a back alley somewhere, and I'm not
Oh
joking.
no.
Yeah. So I'm here. And that's it, is that when you've been through what I've been through, and then you get this weird universe saying, study this thing that you don't even know what it is, but it happens to be what's going to give you the answers that you need to understand your upbringing and what happened to you and why you're so weird and why you don't fit in with anybody. And, there are a lot of normies out there. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
one of I'm not one of them.
No.
So this is very personal for me, that I ended up really meant to study this and meant to do this for a living in a way that isn't traditional. It's very alternative. I'm just a wackadoo. And if people feel whack and they want to find a home, that's what I'm creating with the work I do.
I love that.
So
Well, the theater kid makes sense. I was watching some of your YouTube videos and I was like, this is like, you reminded me of somebody. I can't remember who it was, from like a 90s sitcom. And I was like, you're so like, it's just perfect. I can't even put the right words to it, but I was like, this woman, I was like, was she an actress? She should have been an actress. Like, even the way your hair was styled, even how your hair is right now, I'm like, you're definitely a theater kid, which I totally get. But what made you like decide specifically to work in trauma? I mean, other than trying to figure out your own history, your past learning from that, but like your
yeah,
jump from schooling to now where it seems so specific, like quite a niche.
you're right. You're absolutely right on. That happened as a result of paying attention to the opportunities that were showing up and not having the luxury to not say yes. So my life has truly been about survival. And so, because I guess I was a trauma baby myself, I call us trauma babies. It's not because we're necessarily traumatized when we're babies. It's meant to be a term of endearment or affection. You know, when I call myself a trauma baby, it elicits compassion in me for myself that I experienced what I did. So I like calling myself a trauma baby, and I affectionately call others who have been traumatized a trauma baby. So I think because I was um as traumatized as I was in therapy all the time from a very young age. I was seeking help, really needing regulation of my own system and not finding it in traditional therapy. So when I was handed a book about somatic healing of trauma, everything started gelling and I realized, oh, I could really see myself making a life out of offering this to other trauma babies like me.
Okay.
So it was Peter Levine's book, Waking the Tiger.
I was going to ask this later, but I imagine there's quite a broad spectrum of what trauma actually is. Because as I kind of said at the top, I've always thought of trauma as big, huge moments, like extreme types of trauma. But I imagine there's like more subtle, smaller versions of trauma. So, like, how would you describe that spectrum or things that could qualify as trauma?
Love that question because it I get to bring Peter Levine even more into the conversation. He very wisely said that trauma is not in the event, it is in the nervous system. So we really can't objectively judge what should or should not be traumatizing to another human being.
Okay.
If we begin developing a sense of dysregulation in our system where we are hyper, see, I'm acting it out. The eyes are bugged, right? We're deer in the headlights. We're hyper vigilant. We're having exaggerated startle responses. We think things are coming at us. We're suspect of how that person's looking at us. We begin to perceive things through a filter of I've got to be on alert and make sure I'm going to be okay because that unpredictable, life threatening experience, perceived life threatening experience that I had can never happen to me again. It can never happen to me again. So if I'm crossing my I's and dotting my T's, if I'm organizing all my closets, if I'm right, if I'm like keeping track of my calendar, if I'm keeping really busy and I'm 5 steps ahead of everybody else, I won't experience that unpredictable, terrifying event that ripped the earth out from under my feet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm destabilized now. Um, that is personal. It's subjective.
Okay.
So what we know now, Josh, that's so helpful if anybody's read about highly sensitive people, the HSP, right? Some of us come here highly sensitive beyond, we're not normal. We are not normal people. We are very sensitive, extremely perceptive, um, and that makes us susceptible and vulnerable to what others may experience as a minor injury. So I really want to honor that and just say that yes, it can be a dental procedure, a medical procedure, an accident, an injury, a fall, a of course all of what we anticipate or
Mm-hmm.
expect. what we've been taught are traumatizing things, right?
Right.
Abuses and car accidents and sexual assault and going to war and, right? Those are the obvious things. But for many of us, it is attachment injuries, it's relational disconnect. Sometimes it's what happens to us, and sometimes it's what doesn't happen to us, right? Sometimes it's what we're exposed to, sometimes it's what we're not exposed to.
Right.
And so if you're left feeling dysregulated, it is likely that whatever that was that happened to you was traumatic for you.
Okay.
And that's important to honor, I think.
Yeah. So you can't just like smack a label on something and say, oh, it's trauma. There's such a wide variety of things, both big and small. It's about how your body is reacting to it. Got it. So you mentioned kind of paying attention to those signs, or that would kind of dictate whether you're experiencing dysregulation or trauma. Like, how can people pay attention to their behaviors or activities to kind of acknowledge whether they're sorting through something traumatic or have experienced trauma? You know, you
How do
you
they
said like the deer in the headlight or like avoiding weird situations, like, but how can people be self-aware to notice like, oh, I'm doing ABC. How can I work on this traumatic response?
say that most of us that are dysregulated, we are starting to recognize that we're zero tenning. That's how I call it, zero tenning, all or nothing, black or white. It is or it isn't. Everything
Okay.
is over, right? It's you're either this or you're that, you know. Everybody's either right or they're wrong. There's a right way and a wrong way. All this like extreme stuff.
Yeah.
So that's really the opposite of the being in the 4, 5, 6, 7, what I call that 4, 5, 6, 7. So business people call it the flow, other people call it the zone, the window of tolerance. There's this, ebb and flow that doesn't mean we're not, we don't have our juice going, but it's not a 10. It doesn't mean that we're kumbaya all the time. However, it needs to be in balance.
Mm-hmm.
We need enough energy to be engaged and interested and excited and focused and part of, right? So we need enough of that part of our nervous system going. But when it exceeds that and we're really, rapid speech, really kind of loud and in everybody's space all the time, we do need to pay attention when we can to people's feedback about how we're coming off. One of the most wonderful, like, you're so astute with your question, because one of the best definitions of mental health I ever heard is that mental health is a capacity or an ability to observe your own behavior.
Okay.
And so if you're not noticing your own behavior and the impact it's having on other people, and you're not really open to hearing other people's feedback about how they're experiencing you, it's something to consider. You might want to
Mhm.
get a
May
little
want to
intervention
listen,
for.
listen every once in a while, right? It's interesting you talked about the like all in or all out, love it or hate it, because I talk to my therapist a lot about that, how I'm like that, very black and white thinking. And like if I have like a family issue, it's like I'm mad at the entire family instead of treating them like individuals and each situation a little bit differently. And I did a whole episode on kind of living in the gray area, which I think maybe is what you were referring to, that like ebb and flow, that middle ground, the 4, 5, 6, 7. I realize how I'm on these two opposite ends of the spectrum a lot of the time. Like, I love my apartment, or I'm moving to Paris, or I'm quitting my job tomorrow, or it's the best job ever and I'm so free. Like, it's so extreme. And I've been working really hard on trying to just like find that middle ground. It's so important, but it ain't easy to find sometimes.
easier said than done, isn't it? Isn't it just such an easy thing to talk about and to know would be really healthy and wonderful? But when the nervous system really has been traumatized, there are measurable, demonstrative changes to the brain and the nervous system that talk therapy doesn't get at.
Hmm.
And so this is when we have to move to somatic mechanisms to really help our nervous system to get back into its natural equilibrium. Without somatic mechanisms, we can't reset the nervous system back to its equilibrium. Talking won't get us there. It just doesn't get us there.
Right.
It turns out you can't talk your vagus nerve into not strangling your whole, or like everything from that whole place. That, have you ever seen a picture of the vagus nerve?
No.
It's so
I will
dramatic.
Google it right after this.
Dude, do you have one of those podcasts where you can pop up an image like
Yes.
in
Yes.
between
If you're not watching on YouTube, go watch so you can see the picture of the vagus nerve.
there?
We'll plop it
Yeah,
in there.
yeah, okay. And that thing under stress and trauma, if you have unresolved trauma, if you're living a chronically stressed life, your vagus nerve is strangling your insides. And what people think is IBS and leaky gut syndrome, and you name them, these autoimmune deficiency disorders, people are thinking that it's, and listen, it's not that the effects of stress and trauma don't cause these physical ailments, because they do. It is physical.
Hmm.
Traumatization is physical. I don't know why it's in the mental health world. I really don't. It is a physical health issue. So, because of what happens to the vagus nerve and other parts of the brain, like the amygdala, I'm sure people these days know what that is. We're really paying attention more. It's the consciousness is there now, that we understand what the changes are in the brain and the autonomic nervous system. So these changes you can't say, hey, vagus nerve, would you please stop strangling everything in my body so that I can take a poop? You know, so that my food will digest without me needing to take Tums or worse or whatever. I mean, people are on meds for so many things that are completely healed by vagus nerve nurturance. We just
Wow.
need to nurture our vagus nerve through somatic mechanisms. And this is out there now. I think everybody's turned on to this at this point.
Okay. But that brings me to my next question, which is great because for me, I don't even know what somatic therapy is or self regulation training. So things that you've said, I was like, let me let you explain it to me instead of me researching it. So, what are those two terms?
Okay, love it. Somatic modalities. It's an umbrella term. Somatic simply means body. So, what's beautiful about this is that we are finally recognizing that trauma happens to the whole person, including the body. It's not a mental health issue. Not that it doesn't feel like it or seem like it or show up in some ways that way, but we can, if we just treat it as a typical mental health condition and go to talk therapy and pop some psychotropics, we do not heal the root causes, and we just continue to suffer. And in a lot of cases, we exacerbate the suffering because now we have side effects from the psychotropics. We're talking about it, so it's keeping it like really activated in your system,
Mm,
right? The somatic work really recognizes that this idea of talking about your trauma can actually re traumatize you. It
okay.
can. I'm not saying it always does, but certainly it keeps it alive and well. When you're
Hmm.
talking about things, your whole nervous system is reliving it. It's going through it. I mean, so rather than that, somatic work which simply means, body oriented or body focused work, um, helps us to set the nervous system back to its beautiful equilibrium. It opens up the vagus nerve so that it's not strangling all your organs and making your bodily functions, uh, what do I want to say? What do I want to say? Your bodily mechanism, I guess, problematic for you. I mean, that's kind of a bit of a euphemism. For some of us, it's really extreme suffering. So there's a spectrum of how much this affects us. So anywhere from problematic, less than ideal, to extremely suffering for a lot of us,
Right.
extreme suffering. Yeah. So now self-regulation training. That is even more specific. So, somatic is the umbrella term for body oriented approaches to healing the effects of stress and trauma. Self regulation training is something that I inadvertently developed. I didn't mean to develop anything different or new. I think Peter Levine's work is absolute genius, and I'm very true to my teacher. It just happened that over the years, I needed to adapt Peter's work to really fit the specific populations that were coming to me, they really were they were exhibiting extreme suffering. I mean, most people that found me, honestly, Josh, they were people with a suicide date, like
Okay.
with a mechanism, a means, a plan. This was their last stop. So I had to really affect change as quickly as possible. And so I remembered something that Peter Levine did for me in the one session I ever had with him. I studied from him for 3 years, but I had one session with him where he did something for my system that he doesn't even teach in the training. So, what that has let me know over the years is, oh, yeah, I'm definitely, even when it comes to a traumatized person, I'm not even a normie in the world of traumatized people. I am like a lost cause. Like,
Not a
the most,
lost cause.
I'm telling you, I should be dead in an alley.
Hmm.
Obviously recognize that. Like, what do we do with her? Remember in The Sound of Music, what do we do with Maria or whatever? So I'm kind of that person, right? So I walk through the door and he's like, oh my gosh, what do I do with this one? So he had to get really, really creative. So I never forgot what he did for me. And so when I started meeting clients that were me, if you know what I'm saying,
Hmm.
people show up at the door and I'm recognizing them going, oh, I know you. Oh my gosh, I'm meeting myself over and over and over. That's a thing, by the way, Josh. I don't know what you believe in, um, but whatever that is, there's some sort of something because it's very common that you attract the clients that you relate to and they can see something in you that, there's resonance. There's resonance.
Yeah.
So I started doing for them what Peter Levine did for me and finding out over the years that it isn't something he trains anyone to do. And I just started, I was prompted and encouraged by people to start training other practitioners how to do what I was doing because it was so effective. Like it started being word of mouth and people started coming from all over the place. So then people started insisting, Reg, nobody else is doing this. I just thought I was doing Peter's work, but anyway, I had to accept that I was making adaptations. It became self-regulation training. I trademarked it and I train people to give over self-regulation training to other traumatized people.
Okay. So it's your own approach.
Right.
Neato. Perfect.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your book. the 60-second fix, which is currently on the way to my apartment in an Amazon truck somewhere, delayed by a day. Otherwise, I would be holding it up right now. But let's talk about what's in that book, what prompted you to make it. It's a bestseller. Give me the deets.
It's fun because I had written, others. The first one was quite, I might say, academic. It's been used as a textbook at universities and things like that. And then the ones after that, like I wrote one for parents. And then I did a bunch of stuff for schools, adapting, because I was really on that earliest cusp of getting trauma informed education into the schools, right? I've been doing this for, I don't know, 33 or 4 years now at this point. And I started in schools. So I, was writing those kinds of books. And then I had a hankering, I guess. When's the last time you heard that word?
I love a hankering.
I love that word. It truly is one of my favorite words. So I was having a hankering to write a book that was just fun and light and funny, that your hairdresser wants to read, that your auto mechanic wants to read, that you can give to your boyfriend, you can give to, and just say, this is a really fun book. And so I wrote it. I guess I was in the mood at the time, to kind of write, like to have a different voice,
Mm-hmm.
I wanted a different voice with my writing, and the jokes were just kind of coming out, and I really had a good time writing it. I mean, it becomes painstaking at a certain point, but it's been really well received because it is just a light, fun book, and it gives, I call it playtime, but it gives wonderful exercises, somatic exercises in there that are just fun and worthwhile. Oh, you can't believe. I collected a lot of data for a lot of time on a lot of people, that really showed how practical, how effective these seemingly simple. They seem so simple. How could they possibly solve such a complicated problem? Right? Because
Mm-hmm.
people are suffering, Josh, suffering. So when you bring seemingly simple activities to people's very complex issues, it just doesn't make sense to the logical brain at all that this would be helpful. But that was Einstein. He was so brilliant. He always said, you can't solve the problem at the level of the problem. You can't come at something complex with something complex. You get in there with that. He always said, reduce everything to its simplest form. And then he said, never simpler, but always reduce it to its simplest form. And that's what's in the 60 seconds fix. And it's a big passion of mine. And it's a big part of self-regulation training, that we are pragmatic and practical and time efficient. And, like we're really nipping the bud of this thing, like
Right.
getting right to it. Yeah. Yeah. We're
Right.
not afraid. Don't be afraid. Don't be scared.
Don't be scared. No being scared here. That's not allowed. So what are some examples of, or one example of one of these exercises in the book?
I would love to give you one right now. I would love to give you one. So, as much as everybody is into breath work and mindfulness, and there's this focus on breathing, listen, I'm the variety of hopeless trauma, baby. Don't tell me how to breathe. I'm going to kill you. Get out of my life. I can't do yoga. Stop telling me to do it in here and out there, and for this many counts, and for I'm good. Oh my gosh. Okay. A lot of us have been traumatized in ways, and I don't want to be triggering to anybody in the audience. So I'm going to slow down. I'm just going to slow down. Everybody, feel your seat. Feel your seat planted if you can right now. And if you're not leaning into the back of your chair, please lean into the back of your chair. Please help your physical body to notice physical supportive resources. And yeah, if you can breathe in through your nose, that's great, but don't count it. Don't hold it. Don't Like, just please don't be laborious about your breath. The only thing that does matter when you can, everybody, just if and when you can, if you can put it in through your nose, that is a parasympathetic breath, which is, it does give an important soothing message to the brain. In through the mouth, in through the mouth. Like you can out breath any way you want. Don't
Okay.
listen to anybody saying it has to be this way or that way for this many counts. All that really matters, if and when you can, is that a breath goes in through the nose. And if it's not deep, it does, just please don't. I can't stand when people say, take a deep breath. If I can't take a deep breath right now, I can't take a deep breath right now. Get
Right.
out. So, if and when you can, but you gotta like see if you can notice your seat planted and the back of you getting some physical support, right? We're always kind of holding ourselves up and then our jaws are clenched and okay, we're gonna go out there and fight another fight today. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like when we're driving, like
Oh God.
we're
Yeah.
so we don't realize, like, oh my gosh, and then we wonder at night why we need a massage, or like, oh my gosh, we're so sore in our neck or our back, or it's from bracing all day. The bracing. We're sitting on chairs. We're not sitting in chairs. We're
Mm-hmm.
sitting on couch. We're not in the couch. We're lying on a bed. We're not in the bed. There's
Mm-hmm.
a big difference. So if we can breathe in through the nose and wiggle our toes, in through the nose, wiggle the toes, that helps you to notice you have feet. And that helps you to notice you have a body. And that helps you to notice that your body's in a chair. And that helps you to notice. You see what I mean? It's
Mm-hmm.
noticing. Mental health, right? Which I don't even really believe in. I just believe there's physical health. That's it. Physical health drives up wellness of the mind. That's it. I mean, we just got to change all this language, if you ask me. It's just silly. There's so much shame in mental health. It's just crap. There's physical health that drives up into the brain wellness of the mind. That's
Right.
all. So, in through the nose, wiggle the toes, notice your seat planted, notice some support for your back. Notice that your jaw does not have to clench right now because it just really doesn't. You
Yeah.
can drop it. You can be a guppy like a fish, like
Just let your mouth hang open. Chill
honestly,
out.
just yeah, like just your teeth don't have to clench, and that'll honestly, all of those things together, there were actually a lot of tools there, believe it or not. If you were to just focus on one of those tools and really focus on it, and go, huh, yeah, yeah, I really am. Oh, my back is getting support. What if I just focused on how much support I was getting in my back? Oh, then everything will start taking care of itself. You'll get a deeper breath. You'll start to know this will kind of go, oh gosh, what am I clenching my jaw for? I don't need to do that. It's this domino effect.
Mm-hmm.
So you could actually just use one of them at a time and really focus on it with curiosity. Oh, if I really focus on this, I wonder what else I'll start to notice. And it just dominoes, dominoes, dominoes. But it's the noticing, because that definition of mental health, right, is the ability to notice, like to observe your own behavior. So we want to
Right.
start saying, yeah, noticing, noticing what's happening inside. Those are just really, really important, simple. And guess where trauma's biggest injury is in the primitive part of your brain that's very simple. It's sensory. It cannot process all the words. It doesn't care. In fact, this brain a lot of times is saying, shut up, stop talking. If you don't stop talking, I'm going to slap you. Like
Yeah.
And we're in overwhelm. We're just like, please stop talking. It's too much. It's overwhelming. It's overstimulating. It keeps our nervous system so on edge. So to just shut up and sit back, which is not easy at first for trauma babies to do, but with practice, it gets easier and easier. And we start noticing what's happening inside. And we start noticing that those tight places in us that we experience as painful are just sensory messages that are saying, can we slow down, please?
Mm-hmm.
Just get a nap in. Can we just go some protein? Like, when's the last time you had a glass of water?
Exactly. Yes.
Uh,
Drink some water.
like seriously, we don't check in with our body because we're afraid of the discomfort. But the discomfort is just a message. It's a loving message that says, please do something for yourself right now.
So sometimes I feel like I'm a pretty self-aware person. I'm aware, like all the things you're saying are like reminding me of certain circumstances, like when I'm teaching a group fitness class. Although, yeah, you have to be animated and stuff, but it might be yoga, but like I can't stop walking around. I'm like, I feel like I'm a predator. Like I'm just circling everyone. And then there's times when I go, Josh, just like stand still, like feel the floor, just like take in everyone, like everyone's in like laying on their backs. Like you don't need to be continuously go, 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 go. Do you have any recommendations or suggestions for people to be a little bit more self-aware in those circumstances to bring them into that awareness to kind of pause and then being able to practice some of those tools that are in your book? Because some people don't even let their brain acknowledge that they need to use those tools, if that makes sense.
It sure does make sense. And honestly, that is really like all those play times in the 60 seconds fix. Like I would take advantage. So I hear you. It's a catch 22. It's almost like a chicken and egg question,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because you need the awareness to develop more awareness. Like you need to be aware that you're not aware. You know
Right.
what I mean? Yeah. So it's a tricky question. So I do think that it's a matter of prompting it. This is why I have things like my app, for example. Okay. So I have a free app and you download it from the App Store. And if you sign up for the little notifications, it'll say, have you used your 60 seconds today? Right. 60 seconds is a tool. It's in the book and it's like this toolkit. Some of them I just did with you here, and it prompts you. It gives you a little notification. Have you vooed today? Voo is a really really important one. Oh, I'd love to do some voo with you, but I don't know. We'll see if it makes sense to do it here on a podcast. But anyway, so it prompts you for some of these somatic tools because it's true. I think we need prompting. I think we need some external help. I think for a time we need to have compassion for ourselves, that we need some external prompting before it's going to become an
Habit.
internal thing.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So that is really why I developed the app and I wrote 60 Seconds Fix and I, talk about the myth of self help. I think there's a lot of shame around that too. Like people feel like, oh, I read that book. I should know to do that
Mm-hmm.
now because I read the book. No, it's not when we know better, we do better. It's when we feel better, we do better. There's no neuroscientific evidence for knowing better, meaning that we do better, right? Oh, I
Right.
know better now. I'm going to do better. No, we know all kinds of things and we still just do what we do, you know?
Yeah. Doesn't mean you're going to behave differently all the time, right?
No, that
Yeah.
it really doesn't. We have to feel better inside. And the idea that we're going to be able to do that in a self-helpy way, I personally think is a dangerous message for a lot of us because my clientele are the ones who are really, really suffering. I'm not talking about normies, Normies can access all kinds of normie things. I'm really about when you're not a normie, you're an outlier. You really fall into that other category where you feel so alone, like everybody else is accessing yoga and mindfulness. And look at me, I'm doing so great. Good for you. I tried all that. It doesn't work for
Doesn't
me.
work.
And then shame, there's so much shame that you're not like everybody else.
Yeah.
So this is what my work addresses is it's for those outliers, because that's how I felt. I felt alienated, really isolated, really alone, full of shame and hopeless. I'm talking about completely hopeless. And so all of my work is for those people that can relate to what I'm saying right now. And it doesn't mean that all those things aren't wonderful for normies. I hear from normies. I love it. They found my work and they love it and they find it. But really my passion is those of us that feel like we're an HSP or we feel like we're neurodivergent or we feel, all those ways like we're
Hmm.
not accessing what everybody else is. Yeah.
So to put a button on it, it's really finding a tool that's going to work for you, like your app, something to remind you to be aware, or a little reminder. Maybe you set an alarm, or I used to have a water bottle that would send a message to my phone saying, "Did you drink your water?" And I have an app that reminds me of a few things I need to do in the morning. So finding a tool that works for you so you can
You
remind
can
yourself.
active because I think what I want everybody to know is please don't expect that it, if you're not nurturing in a proactive way, practicing tools that you're going to get good at so that when you really need them, they'll kick in. If you're just wanting tools that, oh, I'm in a 10 now, what are those tools? Do you know what I mean? And you're waiting for when it's so extreme that as if you're going to access your tools. You have to be proactive. It has to be
Hmm.
something you start your day practicing this. You finish your evening before you go to sleep. There are so many of these things. These tools are so important for those of you who are struggling to go to sleep and you don't want to end up getting dependent on, the different things that people get dependent on for sleep.
Right.
There's so many natural, beautiful ways that we can do this for ourselves through these mechanisms.
Yeah, that's a good little segue because there's a lot of people that think about taking those steps that we just talked about and, setting the alarm or doing this and that, but it can be extremely overwhelming. Some people are just like, "Oh, I'll do it next month or I'll do it later," and it never ends up happening. There's also people that are very skeptical of therapy or of your approach to therapy. What would you say to people that are either struggling to start this journey or are maybe like, "Oh, maybe I'll order Dr. Reggie's 60-second fix book," but they're gonna wait 6 months, because we all love to procrastinate. Or people that are skeptical of just go even talk therapy or your form of approaching therapy. What would you say to those people?
Appreciate your question, the way you're wording it, because yes, my approach to therapy, in fact, turns the therapy paradigm on its nose. Is that what's I get all the sayings wrong.
It
It's
turns it
on
on
its
its head
maybe
or its foot or its ass, I don't know,
I don't,
somewhere.
I was traumatized by therapy. I'm being honest. I'm just being honest. I really was. There are people, I'm sure they mean well, but man, what a disaster. When you're a hopeless trauma baby and you go in for talk therapy, it's shocking how judgy and it's shocking what goes on. These licensed people with all these degrees and everything. It makes you feel like you can really trust them and they're really but I mean so many of them aren't even trauma informed. It's just ugh. I've had so many terrible experiences, so I wanted to develop an alternative to therapy and studied the neuroscience to really design something that is more along the lines of positive neuroplasticity, which is that we're just retraining our brain, right? We're deconditioning it, cleaning it out and just reconditioning around really beautiful tools and mechanisms that help us to practice grace, with ourselves, to really have more grace for ourselves and to be kinder and all those, maybe cliche kinds of things now to Gen Z, I guess but that was revolutionary for me. I'm
Right.
Gen and be nice to ourselves. What? I mean, we were just raised to beat ourselves up like there's no tomorrow, you know? But just these mechanisms that help us to be kinder about what it takes, not therapy. This isn't a mental health issue. I'm not going for therapy. I really just want to retrain my brain to focus on what is going to be healthier and more helpful to me. I want that. I just want to feel better. I really want to feel better. I don't want to have to talk about it to death. I don't want to have to relive it. I don't want to have to,
Hmm.
pay ridiculous prices. I just want to be able to retrain my brain to focus on yummy, is what I always say. Isn't it time for us to just feel yummier and
Yeah,
focus
I
on
love being yummy.
yummy? So important, and we have to practice it and then grow our window of tolerance for it, because a lot of times we can't really tolerate too much yummy, and then our saboteur comes out. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Interesting. Okay, well, yummy. If you don't have a t-shirt that says "Let's be yummy," you should probably start working on that. Write it down.
Because my clientele really wants to start merching
Yeah.
SRT. We merchandise. Okay, let's get yummy.
Yeah, let's get yummy.
Let's get yummy.
I'm
That's
here
it.
for it.
Let's
I love
yummy.
that. I
Let's
will be
get
ordering one.
love it.
You did say that a lot of the clients that come to you remind you of you, or you see yourself in them. There is kind of like a through line, a theme. But when you, I guess, complete your work with them, is there an outcome that you see, whether emotional, physical, relational, that you notice with all of the clients, since they remind you of you, or you can relate in the beginning? What about at the end?
100%. And listen, I know now this is really gonna sound like I'm selling snake oil, but I swear to you, SRT focuses on immediate relief. You walk in our door and we love you. You have no idea. I hate the word unconditional love. It's BS. Unconditional is what love is. Duh. We don't need the word unconditional in front of it. If you need the word unconditional in front of it, it's not
It's
love.
not unconditional. Yeah.
It's just so dumb, right? So SRT is all about love. So it's like I'm talking about radical acceptance, like zero judgment, meeting someone right where they're at, naturalizing where they're at, universalizing where they're at. People feel so isolated and alone. And when we help them to understand how their nervous system and their brain is changed by stress and trauma, they realize, oh my gosh, how universal this is. This is how we're designed. This is how we're made. This is how our nervous system was made to respond to these inordinate amounts of stress and these terrifying events. We live on planet trauma, Josh. Have you
Mhm.
noticed?
I
Yeah.
certainly have.
So let's bring love to the table, man. So people show up, and I am telling you, we don't do history taking. We don't ask you questions. We don't need to know anything about your past. This is a Gestalt approach. Right now, we're bringing you relief. Let's go. You want it? Let's go. I invite you to be curious. We do some really weird things in here. Do you want me to give you the science as to why we do these weird things? Because I'm happy to if you need buy in. Or do you want to just start getting weird? And we just start.
I love that.
Yeah. And I'm Josh, I want before and after pictures of the first session. The first session. I wish I would have the audacity, but of course you can't do this. This is
Right. Pause for a moment.
um but I so when they leave here, I have people leaving, they look 6 inches taller. They
Wow.
look 6 inches taller. It's all somatic, it's body work. It's body work. So we do posture work. We do all kinds of mobilized somatic activities that change from the bottom up how you feel. You're not going to you people don't you have to experience it. This is why Peter Levine called his approach somatic experiencing. because you have to experience it to believe it. It's too hard to explain. It sounds unbelievable, but it's absolutely true. So yes, demonstratively, lightness. So people come in like this. I'll just show you right now. People come in
Yeah.
like this. Okay, this is it. And they leave, and they'll often verbalize to me. These are my favorite, some of my favorite things they say. I love this one because, I've been known to enjoy an alcoholic beverage. So my favorite one, I think there's some in the 60 Seconds Fix where they go, I feel like I just had 4 cocktails. What? And I said, yeah, but even better than having 4 cocktails, you can get in your car and drive home right now. But this floating, they'll say, oh my gosh, I feel like you just gave me a massage. What was that? What did you just
Wow.
do to me? They leave open and light and smiling. And it's the most rewarding. So if I seem like a very exuberant, joyful, when I was stuck in my stuff before somatic work, I didn't laugh at anything. I've never seen any of those sitcoms that everybody grew up on because I would try and I would say, this is so stupid. I don't understand. I
Mm-hmm.
laughed at, I had no joy. I was the most miserable person. I was angry. I was like accusatory. And do you know what I mean? I was just like seriously very severe
Yeah.
as post traumatic stress or whatever, right? So, oh my gosh, now it's joy, it's laughter. There really is a cosmic joke. It's not funny while you're suffering. There's nothing funny when you're suffering. So I have reverence. I mean it. I don't mean to be um whatever that word is about this. Like I have great reverence for people who are suffering. And I remember when nothing was funny. And you're asking about what you can expect as an outcome. And you're in on the cosmic joke, man. Everything, everything, everything just gets so bloody funny you can't even take it anymore. It's
I love it.
it's it's so magical. It's anyway. So snake oil. Sorry, guys. I just
Okay, well, I just ordered 12 baskets of your snake oil. But it actually reminds me of something you said because when we were at Thanksgiving and
yeah.
you said something, I've been thinking about it ever since when you just said nothing really matters. Like you're not here to figure it out. You're never going to figure it all. I don't know. Sorry. I don't know if you said nothing matters. You said we're never going to figure it out. And I've been thinking about that almost daily. And I'm like, truly, no matter how hard we go on this journey or the things we've experienced, or no matter how much knowledge we try to learn or take in or absorb or apply, it's like, you never figure it all out. We're on a fucking round rock flying through space. Who knows where we're going? And it really, something about that really just like resonated with me, kind of like how you're explaining you're in on this cosmic joke. It kind of feels similar to that, where it's like, you're
Yes.
never gonna figure it out.
Nope.
It's
There isn't
crazy.
any figuring it out. And anybody who thinks they have, that that's part of the cosmic joke. That's
Right.
laughing at. So now I just kind of observe people with all their opinions and this is how it is and all this kind of stuff that they believe they know. And I'm just that old lady now. Like maybe it's just that I'm an old lady. I don't know, John.
I
But
don't think quite yet.
I swear to God, I just observed that, and inside, I'm laughing. I would never. I don't want to be that way. I remember when I had to figure it all out, and I had it all figured out, and that helped me to get out of bed every morning. Right? This wants to know, it needs to know, and if it doesn't know, it makes it up. And that's how a lot of people get out of bed. So I don't want to take that away from anybody. I really don't. We don't focus on stopping any behaviors at all. Nothing. We simply focus on starting new, healthy, yummy, fun, light, extremely effective mechanisms.
Mhm.
And that's all. And then what happens is naturally these other things just kind of fall away because they're not needed anymore.
Right. I like that because one of the things that for me when I started shopping for a new therapist or just even when I first started going, I was like, "Oh, we have to revisit my history. They're going to want to know all of these things, and we're going to waste so many sessions, and I don't have insurance, so I'm paying out of pocket. Like, it's also not cheap. Like, I was like, can we just talk about what's happening now? Like, can we just focus on that, please? Because
Yes,
maybe other things will come up from the past, but like, I just want to talk about what's pissing me off today, how I can work through this.
thank you.
I like
Thank
that. I think that holds a
you.
lot of people back because you sit there rehashing, as you said.
In my opinion, it's a scam. I mean, in a lot of ways, I can be anti-therapy. I'm not going to say, listen, I'm sure because I've been in so much talk therapy that yes, I have found together with my somatic mechanisms. Now that I'm SRT'd, that's what I call it. I always say, get SRT'd first and then bring
Mm,
all of that with you and knock yourself out. Do talk therapy, do try EMDR and IFS and all these things that a lot of trauma babies cannot access. It's re traumatizing. It's too much, too soon, too fast. It stirs up a lot of stuff and it doesn't, put a lid on it so you're okay for a while in between sessions and things like that. It's
right.
honestly, I do a lot of work on repairing people's therapy gone bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to have a brush for all therapy for all people. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be that person. So you'll take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt. But
Mm-hmm.
I do, I would prefer knowing how much I do about the neuroscience, how the brain and nervous system work. I would urge people to get SRT first. It doesn't have to be SRT. It can be somatic experiencing or sensory motor psychotherapy. These are some of the, ones that I think are really excellent. Peter Levine's work, Pat Ogden's work. But get SRT first and take all of that with you so that you can regulate your nervous system through those experiences.
Right.
I don't want you to get hurt. I don't want injury. I don't want the kinds of damage that then really turns us off from therapy, really turns us off and makes us stay away. I do think it's a scam that they spend all that time in the beginning on history taking and all this
Yeah.
crap. And you are paying big amounts of money and it's I don't like it. I don't like it. It puts a bad taste in my mouth, which is why I don't even consider myself really part of that profession anymore. I
Mm-hmm.
really see SRT as something separate and different. The somatic world, I see it as quite different than traditional talk therapy.
Right. Well, there's different tools for different people. It's kind of like dating. Like, you're not going to well, you might fall in love with the first person you go on a date with, but you have to figure out what you want, what's going to work for you. And maybe talk therapy works for a little bit. And then if you feel like you're re traumatizing yourself, sometimes I go and I'm like, oh, am I going to talk about the same thing again today? Because it's still bothering me. It's still weighing on me. And I'm going to reopen that wound or revisit that issue. And it also reminds me of like, if something's pissing me off, I call my friend Natalie, right? I'll vent to her. And you would think one vent session is enough. But it's like when she has to go, I'm like, I'm heightened. I'm going to call Jessica and I'm going to vent to her. And I imagine therapy is similar to that. I think we all do that, right? Where we like, call one friend or call our mom or call this person, tell several people the same story. We get worked up again. We get right back in that state. Therapy is talk therapy, maybe is like a drawn out version. I love my therapist and I like going, but I totally get what you're saying. And I think a lot of people can relate to that. It's like, okay, what is the end goal here? How are we going to fix this? How do I not have to come here every week? How are we going to maybe make this a once a month thing instead of every Tuesday? Rehashing the same story. So
That's why
that
you've got
lands.
the brain. You've got to actually get to the root causes, which is the constriction of your vagus nerve, the kindling effect of the amygdala. And from the second you come in for these sessions, we're actually completely reducing the physiological activation that's at the root of you being so bothered by this. So we remove you feeling bothered anymore. And in fact, what happens because we deactivate your physiology, we just get straight to deactivating your physiology. that this bottom up, we call it the M in CYBAM. Peter Levine's approach is a CYBAM model. The M in CYBAM is this new meaning that comes up from this deactivation of your nervous system that goes, what was I so upset about? Oh, right.
Huh?
Yeah. He did
Yeah.
park my car. Oh, yeah. I really don't give a shit that he didn't park my car the way I wanted. Or do you know what I'm saying? Whatever it is. I know some of these
Yes.
things are very serious, but
Yes.
also some of them are really traumatized. Even, inconsequential things are making us quite upset. And what we can do when we deactivate the physiology is really get your own mind to this place of going, oh my God, I just don't care. Like sometimes people come in and they go, I really need you to help me to know how to talk to this person. I've got to address this with this person. Okay. So we work on their activation. And by the end, they go, I don't want to freaking talk to that. I don't need to. I don't care. I get it.
Hmm.
Out too. It's just activation in his system. Why do I have to be so judgmental? He was just upset. Like, it's okay. We're
Right.
human. Do you know what I mean? Like it just, and you get to discern whether or not something still needs to be said. But a lot of times what happens when you deactivate the physiology is you go, oh, all I need to say is this one sentence. That's it. It's a
Yeah.
complete conversation. That's all I
Instead
need to
of
say.
5 paragraphs or a big
So,
old vent session. Yeah.
right, that comes from activation. We deactivate all of that. And then there's a new meaning that shows up and it feels revelatory. So, yes, different approaches for different people. I'm really talking specifically about people who I'm talking about extremes. My clientele are the extremes. So, I don't mean to talk anybody out of traditional talk therapy if
Hmm.
they love the therapist. That I'm really speaking to those of us who've tried those avenues. We're really desperate. We're still really suffering. We need deactivation of our dysregulation, or we're not going to make it. We're not going to make it. We're
Right.
going to honor that date, and be gone. So I'm talking about, so
Yeah.
I
Yeah. Yeah.
just want to be
Yes.
clear about that. Okay.
Yeah. Are there any misconceptions or things that you feel like are misunderstood in trauma stress healing in your line of work? Things that you feel like people maybe you would like people to understand clearly?
As an example, some people really think, oh, yeah, no, I could never go for somatic work. I need to talk. And there's no talking in somatic work. Not true. That, if I was here to do some myth busting, I think what I'm going to call the last chapter in my memoir, because the memoir is about me, yes, but I'm so much less interested in me than I am in how certain events of my life led to the shaping of SRT. So it's a memoir of SRT and me, you know?
Right.
So it's about the approach and me and things that happen to me. So at the end, I've got this final chapter that I'm calling FAQs and myth busting. So that's one thing I'd like to clear up. The other thing is some people say, oh, you're just all about natural, like you don't like psychotropic medication or you don't like talk therapy for people. And I always say, no, 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 no. I was just trying to make a point about people who've tried all those avenues. I'm just trying to help explain why for some people exhausting all those avenues didn't lead to the healing for them.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so sometimes I say things maybe too dramatically or too, because I'm a theater girl. I say, I say things for effect sometimes, and I
Oh,
need
don't
to,
I know how to relate to that? Yeah.
right,
Right.
wake people up. Like there is a part of me that feels like I do have this role to play on earth that is not for everyone. I rub people the wrong way. I'm not for everyone. But I accept that I think I am supposed to wake people up,
Mhm. Mhm.
it just feels like something that I'm okay with. If that means that they're only going to 5 years later go, oh yeah, that lady I couldn't stand at Thanksgiving dinner. You know what? That thing she said, it actually now I can really hear it. Now I can really hear it.
I hope you're
Um,
not thinking that I'm saying that I can't stand Reg from Thanksgiving dinner behind your back. No,
no,
I'm obsessed with you. I want to be reincarnated as you, quite frankly.
I'm so pleased. It always means so much to me when I get to meet another person that resonates, because
Hmm.
truly, right? I'm sure it happens for you too sometimes. We're not for everybody. Not everybody
No.
is for everybody, but we have to be ourselves, right, Josh? It's like that's the other thing that people say about SRT and even 60 seconds, even little kids. It's on my YouTube channel. This first grader who said 60 seconds makes me feel like me.
Oh.
This kid never saw.
That's
But
cute.
all these adults that use SRT, they just say, I'm me now. I have the courage to be me. I have the tools to manage how scary it used to be to just be myself. I just want to be myself.
Hmm.
And if not everybody likes that, it's okay. I need to be me. And these mechanisms really it grows our window of tolerance for other people's reactions or the way the world can respond to us sometimes. It's okay. It's all right. I have my tools. I'll be fine.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I can say that probably in the last year of my therapy, finding love for like my authentic self, really just being me, has made everything in my outside life like so much less irritating. I'm so much less angry. I yell at people much less frequently while I'm driving. It still happens, but it's like I take a look around and I've like, sort of separated from these situations that bring me stress and anxiety and anger, whether it's family, friends, dating, whatever. And it's like you just said, when you just want to be yourself and the people that get you, the people that don't, because we're not everyone's cup of tea all the time. That's not how it works. Then you just realize that all these other things are not that deep and you're never going to figure it all out. It just makes it so much lighter. You're so right. I could talk to you for 12 years, but I have one more question, specifically bringing it back to this New Year situation. If you can give one challenge, one invitation, one little starting point for listeners in 2026, people who are looking to begin their healing journey, whatever that might look like, what could be your suggestion?
Okay, I'm going to give you the one because there might be people listening today who really do fall into my category, who are in extreme states of suffering, even if they're suffering in a very secretive way, maybe to the outside world, they're still kind of, able to, but when they're alone, they're really, really suffering. So I'm going to give you a very weird one. But the backup to that is what I've already mentioned. So if this one that I'm going to give everybody, if you're like, oh, hell to the no, am I doing that? I understand. Strange mechanism. If it's hell to the no on the one I'm about to give you, download the app, try the 60 seconds fix book, right? Like those, I would say that. I would say start there. But here's the one I want to give you. It's a 30-day VOO challenge. It really helps if you're a journaler. If you're not a journaler, that's okay. But it would be good if you could just kind of jot down, after a few days and then after another few days on the 30-day challenge, what you're noticing, what you're noticing. So here it is. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
It is making the sound VOO.
Voo.
Oh,
Oh, look at the. Wait, what just happened?
these are New Year's Day balloons. No. Okay.
Wow, this is some universe shit right here. That's crazy.
Whatever right here.
I'm
Josh,
actually shook.
I believe in all that stuff. I
No,
really
that's
do.
amazing.
Every day there's evidence. Evidence is shown to me all the day. You just asked me about New Year, and I give you what I would really love it to be.
And there it is again. Is
And
mine gonna do it? Why doesn't mine do it? What's going on?
we're
Okay,
getting
people that can't see, Reg is
I,
making a hand gesture explaining this technique that we're gonna do, and these balloons are flying all over the screen. I don't know how this is happening.
Happy New Year. Happy New You. Are you
Happy
ready?
New Year, New
Here's
You. Yes.
and I'm very passionate about it. All of my things are free. Everything. Everything that you're going to learn about in the 60 seconds fix and what we're going to do right now. Guys, medical doctors are creating all these gadgets that are so expensive and all these medical treatments that are so expensive. I'm going to show you the free way to do it. And it
Let's.
is the sound vote. All right, I'm doing it. Here I go. Inhale through the nose. On the exhale. When
Voo.
the exhale is done, inhale through the nose.
Voo.
Now, this is a big challenge because you're going to feel weird. You're going to want to be alone when you do it. Do it in the shower, maybe. Do it driving in the car. Do it when you fall asleep at night. It's not going to make you groggy when you're driving or anything like that, or make you fall down in the shower. Nothing like that. Feel your feet on the ground and voo. The challenge is that the most effective way of doing it is 5 full minutes. It doesn't mean that you won't possibly start noticing a difference after 2 or 3 minutes, but especially in the beginning, it for 5 full minutes, and you did 5 minutes of Voo every day, 30 days in a row. Let's say you forget. Fine, you forgot one day. Do it the next day. Do it the next. And at the end of 30 days of doing it as many days as you can for as long as you can, start to notice what that does for you. It helps to open up that vagus nerve that is strangling, that's causing our digestion problems, bowel problems, autoimmune suffering, leaky gut. There's so many things that we need to open all this up. Then your serotonin that gets produced in the gut starts to release. You start feeling like, oh, I'm not as suicidally depressed today. Sorry.
Isn't that nice?
Something happens. It's so hard. Anyway, I'm gonna stop selling the snake oil. It's not going to be an easy challenge for some people, but if you can, that would be the one. That would be the one. If not, download the app. I have lots of little videos and audios and free talks on there and all kinds of things on my app. I think the book is funny and fun. I think people will really relate to it. Enjoy it. It's a very light read. You can read it like there's nobody's business. There's little playtime things in there. Oh, by the way, everybody, I answer all my emails. I answer all my emails.
Wow. That's commitment.
So I'm serious. So just go to drmelrose.com and email me if you have questions and listen, if you have challenges or you're mad at me right now. I love it all. Bring it all on.
Yeah.
Like if you're mad that I said anything I said about this, that, or the other thing, just tell me. It's okay. I love seriously. I love feedback and I just love it. I invite everybody to be themselves and share with me. And if there's anything that I can answer or repair or, seriously, it's very, very important. It matters to me.
Good. I think we should do a hot air Voo 30-day challenge. And I'll try to do it every day when this airs in January. And we can do our 5 minutes. I mean, most of us drive to work. You could do it on your way to work, like you said. Most of us shower for probably almost 5 minutes. Set a timer. 5 minutes seems like a long time, but when you set a timer, you sit down and you start. Before you know it, that timer's gone off, and you're like, damn, 5 minutes. So let's do a hot air 30-day Voo challenge. Like you said, if you miss a day, no biggie. You jump back on. That's what I love about New Year's resolution. Last year, I didn't start mine on January 1st, and I was like, I don't have to. I can start this whenever I want to. I can set a day. It could be January 12th at 1:30 p.m. and I'll be like, let's start something new. It doesn't have to start right on the day. You can do anything you want, anytime, start whatever you want, whenever you want to.
Yes, I
right?
love hearing you say that. Yes.
I can't wait to Voo.
Yeah.
Voulez-vous coucher avec moi?
Yes, if you are struggling with sleep, do the 5 minutes before you're trying to go to sleep. It's unbelievable. It will truly help. By the end of that 30 days, I'm telling you.
I
Yeah,
love it.
don't pay that money for all the sensates and the medical things, and don't do it. You don't need to. Really. It's
Yeah.
cheap, free. Okay.
You've said so many things today that make me think about me and also other people that I know that I'm like, oh, what like once they find these tools, friends that can't sleep, friends that I feel could use your guidance and the type of therapy that you offer. There's so many tools that I'm so grateful that you were willing to share. And I'm just so thankful that you decided to join me and talk about all of these. I think they're fun things. I love learning things. Heavy, but like, I just love the way that you do it. You're great.
You, Josh, and please know how mutual it is. When I knew that I had a chance to be on your podcast, knowing what your passion is and what your mission is, I just had to. I felt so compelled. I feel
Oh,
honored that you
thank
would have
you.
me on. Yes. So I just want to say, listeners, I love you for so many different reasons. You have no idea. I'm not going to start getting emotional. It's an honor that I was here today for all of you, with you, Josh. Thank you for what you do. It means the world to me.
Oh my God, thank you.
Yeah.
You're the
Yeah.
best.
You are.
As we wrap up today's conversation, I hope that this episode gave you a new perspective on what healing can look like. Not as something you have to force or fix or perfect, but something you can support moment by moment. If there's one takeaway from this conversation with Dr. Reggie Melrose, it's that small, consistent practices can create real change and that your nervous system doesn't need more pressure. It needs safety. If you found this episode helpful, make sure that you're following on Instagram and TikTok at _hotairpod. Make sure you leave a review wherever you are listening to this episode. Share it with somebody who might need these tools as much as you do. And you can learn more about Dr. Melrose and her work, including the 60-second fix, on her website, which is in the show notes. So, thank you for continuing to start this year with me with intention, curiosity, and some self love. And I'll be back next week with more. So, I will see you next Tuesday.